think you could just do it on. Yeah.
To you, glory and praise forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Thomas. Whoa.
To you, glory and praise forevermore.
Welcome to another episode of CTR TV, one of the ways we like to communicate with you during this time of semi-isolation. Today, I'm very excited to have some people that you all know in one way or another if you've been tuning into our live stream Mass. They are the voice of the 10 o'clock live stream Mass, soon to become the 9 o'clock live stream Mass. Specifically, Nick, Jane, Daniel, Thomas, and Sophia Curalli. They're my guests today, and we're very, very pleased to welcome them to CTR TV. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I've never interviewed 5 people all at the same time. This is exciting and dangerous, but a lot of fun. Now, one of the casualties of the pandemic has been the church choir. Church choirs need to be too close to one another to sing and to rehearse, so almost nobody has a church choir, but we do. How is that possible?
Well, I think Jane and I are to blame. They're our children, right? We all live under the same roof, and as such, along with these very interesting times causing some interesting ways of living, they allow us to perform together. So it's been a blessing for us all. But yeah, I guess you could blame the two of us.
And you rehearse at home,
We do.
We do.
which is what you do normally.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I thought at the beginning of the pandemic we would be having music for Mass provided from your living room. I never dreamt things would work out the way they have. It's been truly wonderful. Now, they say the family that prays together stays together. Does singing together make it easier to live together or more difficult?
It depends on the day.
Depends on the day.
Mostly yes, though it does.
I think it's nice to have something that we can all do together. It's nice to have something that as a family we can work towards. That doesn't mean that it's without its bumps in the road, but we're all on the same road, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it worked for the Von Trapp family, didn't it?
Yeah.
Eventually.
Got the one eventually.
Things that happen spontaneously are very stress-free when we all break into song. When we're working on actually getting a piece together, that could be a little bit more stressful.
There are some standards and expectations. Yes. But they, the kids have been involved with the music since before they could sing, because they've always been present, even as infants, when Jane and I have been doing music for church. So it's kept our family together throughout those years as well. I think it's been a real bonding agent even before this pandemic, for sure.
Now, it's no surprise that I believe your singing for these Masses has been a tremendous blessing for this parish, for me. Tremendous blessing. Do you think about that sometimes? Do you have some sense of what you are actually sharing with the church and your brothers and sisters? Does it occur to you, or is it just something you just do?
I think we think of it more as a blessing for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that we always think about it as a blessing to others. I hope it's a blessing to others, but it's been such a blessing for us to continue to do it, to come to the church and to be able to add, I think, is a blessing for us.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly makes a huge difference to the celebrant. To know that the Mass is beautiful and there are people. I mean, you were the people
Yes.
for the longest time until today.
Yes.
You were the congregation. You were and with your spirit, people.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's wonderful. Now, one of the reasons that we've had such great success with the live stream Mass is that the quality of the sound is very, very good. And that wasn't a given by any means. Nick, you were really instrumental in the decisions that were taken to make the sound really work well. And I myself thought it was like just turning on the microphones. Can you tell us a bit of what goes on to make the sound work and sound so full?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think first off, we're very fortunate that we have a church that has beautiful resonance and a sound system that allows that resonance to flow through. So for me, really the key was to reproduce that as closely as possible and not produce it, but allow that resonance to flow through. And I think it was a team effort, first of all. I think everyone here, as well as some very talented sound engineers, Kenny and Rowan, who's been with us every single week, the unsung hero behind the scenes. But what we've tried to do is just really try and let the ambient sound of the music come through. And I think the engineers have really been able to do that with the microphone set in the church without much production, rather just let the resonance of the church allow the music to portray itself. It's never the same as being in the church yourself, but I hope that what's been produced has at least given people a sense at home, the parishioners at home, of what they might have heard had they been in the church.
Because the people here not only was coming from your microphones, but also from microphones in the church, designed to pick up the church sound.
That's correct. So we're performing or singing as if the congregation were in the church, and instead of those people with their ears, the sound engineers have put microphones to be their ears in the church. Yeah.
Sophia, the way the light is falling on our studio, you're kind of in the shadow, but in fact, you've very much been the voice of the live stream from the very first Mass. So you've led the people not only in prayer through your singing, but also through the act of spiritual communion and the welcome that you give in the name of the parish. How's that felt?
To be honest, it was a little nerve-wracking at the start because I do like to be in the shadows. I don't like to be up front. But it's been an honor really to be able to be that voice that people hear when they come in. And it's been different for me because I don't know, I guess I just have to be more aware of what's going on, more so than we do on a regular Sunday Mass where things happen and without me, which is fine. But yeah, so it's been cool to be that voice, and I've heard some people say that it's nice to hear familiar voices when they sign in, so it's not an automated thing or anything like that. So it's been cool, but I certainly don't think I have a career in radio, so.
Well, by the way, while you were talking, this little bit of dandelion fuzz came floating down, and I thought this could be a little bit of an angel's wing, but I think it maybe wasn't. But it was certainly it's been wonderful what you've done, how you've contributed. Now, Daniel, you are the guy who's been doing double duty, because we hear you sing, and you are here on Sunday mornings, but you've also been part of the effort to keep the church safe, including for your own family, from the very beginning. You've been working behind the scenes, even during the week, sanitizing things, and even now, when we have quite a big organized effort, you're still part of that, of keeping things going. Has that been difficult, scary?
I mean, not particularly. I think that, there's lots of precautions taken from the start. Part of that is cleaning, but making sure that I had the proper equipment, whether it be gloves and masks and all that sort of stuff, which was good, and knowing that it's something that I can do. I'm at an age where I'm in a less susceptible demographic, and so there needs to be some effort to help keep it safe for everyone, including myself when I walk in without gloves and a mask. So I think it's just something that I was able to do, and I was happy to have the opportunity to do that.
I think one of your very first sanitizing efforts, you arrived in a fantastic hazmat suit, and that photo will be part of our historic record.
It's beautiful. Yes. That was beautiful, and that was not actually my idea. I have to pass that off. That was a team effort. Everyone was like, "How are we going to keep you safe?" Well, we're gonna get a painter suit, and we're gonna get it all together. That was the big sanitizing day. There was lots of things going on that day. So that was fun.
Made for a great photo. Now you've actually, the early stages of the pandemic, you were spending more time in church than I do. So do you find time to pray when you're cleaning and in the church?
It's interesting in hindsight. I probably had more time than I devoted to that, to do that. It's nice sometimes to sit in the back of the church to hear Lectio when you were doing it on Wednesdays, because I'd be in and around the church, and to sit and to pray in that way. So that was excellent. There was definitely more time I could have devoted to prayer while I was in there, but I was also listening to music while working, which is a gift that I think God has has given to everyone, but especially to me, because it's so helpful. So it was in a way a prayer of thanksgiving that there was something to keep me from getting too bored while sanitizing pew after pew after pew.
Thomas, you were a pretty serious baseball player. In fact, I was present at perhaps the high point of your career. The winning run in the playoffs. What was the name of the team?
Forest Hills.
I thought it might have been Forest Hills. Yeah,
Yes.
I was there. So,
All-star.
but despite that, you tend to avoid the spotlight in the choir loft. So, do you see yourself as kind of a team player in the choir? Is that the way you look at it?
I do, and I think out of all the teams I've been a part of, this is probably one of the more special ones, just because they all have so much experience with singing and performing and that kind of thing, that every week I learn more and more, because that's not really my thing. So yeah, I definitely love being a team player on this team. Yeah.
But you're a pretty good player on the choir team.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
bad.
We'll keep
Not
them.
bad.
Yeah.
Kind of important.
I would like to have it on record on the internet that you have agreed to sing the psalm at my funeral.
A solo.
Oh, it's solo. May not
We
be the
don't know
song.
if it's going to be the song.
And I keep changing the music, which is a
Yes.
bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, Jane, you, if this was on TV, you would be quite hard to spot in the loft because you are hidden by the organist, by the organ. You are the organist, and you take special care to make sure that the music we hear works beautifully with the readings. It's a very special sort of ministry. Do you find that strengthens you spiritually, that connection to the liturgy through your music?
Definitely. I would say that the Holy Spirit is in charge of the selection of music. That's my go-to. I pray to the Holy Spirit before I choose, and I think that I'm usually well guided that way. But definitely, because I have to look at all the readings prior, and so I have time to meditate on it and think about it, and it's a several-day process. I read the readings, and then I think about it, and then I choose, and then I choose again. So, yeah.
Sometimes you pray to the Holy Spirit in the middle of Mass.
Sometimes I do.
Let me choose again.
And we choose again.
Especially when I throw a curveball with a homily that you didn't see coming.
That's right.
It is the lovely part of the pandemic. We haven't had to post the numbers, so we can change
Mhm.
on the fly if the Holy Spirit tells us otherwise.
Great. Now, we've been talking about the choir as a team. Wouldn't it be fair to say that you are the general manager?
Oh, I like that question. Yes. Well, we're a baseball family too. So the general manager, is in charge of everything, comes up with the lineup, all that kind of stuff. So, but I would say I have a really good coach. This is the coach. So I come up with a lineup, and then he coaches the players through it all. So yes, it works perfectly.
Fantastic team. So, has anyone had a best moment during the live streams?
Well, Father Jeff's provided some best moments, so we
Yeah.
can't really talk about those.
Yeah, they're certainly possible.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
There were
best
some,
moments.
as strange as the whole thing has been, to be honest, it's been, I think the word Sophia uses is, it's been weird. It really has, in so many ways. And yet, within all that weirdness, there have been some beautiful moments of silence in the church. And with all due respect to the congregation, it's silent because there's no one in the church other than the few of us. And so those have been some really special prayerful moments that, I hope come through in the broadcast, but those have been special.
Yeah, I think one of the special moments, or special moments plural for me, has just been going online afterwards, or even just seeing people out and about, whether it be in a store or something, and then just stopping and being like it's nice to hear some sense of normalcy from home. It's nice to hear the Mass that we're used to. And that's really what it's about. It's about creating some sense of normalcy in the midst of this crazy, weird period. So it's nice to know that's happening. That the setup that we created, the way that we're going about it is contributing and coming across to bring normalcy to people.
But it was nice to have everybody in the church.
It was
Yeah,
nice to.
was
It was very
lovely.
nice to have people in the church today and be
There's
like,
a huge energy that you get from having people
Just
in the
from
church.
having other people join in responses and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's early days, but it was a bit of an exhale today
Yeah.
with the congregation back in the church.
Yeah, it was nice.
I was going to ask, did anyone have a worse moment? But those answers are so good to the best moments. I think we could wrap it up there with a word of warm thanks to you for being with us on CTR TV, and needless to say, if I went any further than that, it would get messy. So bless you all, and thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.